Moderator of this session, co-founder DevX, Mr. Umesh Uttamchandani, and request him to take this session further.
Thank you, Krina, for the wonderful introduction. You seem to be working and sitting out of a very cool office environment.
Undoubtedly, this is the vibrant place I can ever be during this virtual session.
Indeed it is. And the session that I'm moderating now, the location seems to be apt to address that session. So I'll take the honors from you, and I'll jump onto the brief introduction of the session that I'm moderating today. It's more on the lines of open innovation. So first of all, a wider thankful note for the JShare team, the efforts that have gone behind this to gather people at such large scale. I hear that there are around 500 to 600 CIOs who are participating in this event, and more than 1,500 people who are going live and have registered with this event. And there are concurrent 500 people active listening to multiple sessions that are going live. So this comes across as an opportunity for the startups that are showcasing here. And since this event is for CIOs, I believe the new termed coin, which is open innovation, makes it apt for the startups and also the CIOs to work along with them. So co-creation and open innovation being the new terms that are getting accepted widely across the globe. Although US, the States, and the western part of the globe was vividly adopting it, India is slowly, gradually getting into that space wherein the CIOs are strongly working with the startups. So to address a few of the startups that are working strongly into that space, I have two of the strong personalities operating in the AR/VR space and the IoT domain. I would start up with Mr. Keyur Bhalawat, who is the founder of a company named Plutoman. He is slowly and gradually becoming the face of the startup ecosystem from the Gujarat and getting renowned with respect to the AR/VR space. So I strongly recall the phase while I was growing up, jahan pe toothpaste was more of a Colgate. And nowadays in Gujarat, AR/VR is more on the lines of becoming Plutoman or Keyur. So on those lines, Mr. Keyur, I would hand it over the session to you so that you can address as to what you do and see and create an opportunity for CIOs to work along with you.
Thank you, Umesh, for such a wonderful introduction. In fact, I would not have been able to introduce myself the way you have done. Talking about Plutoman, we are a company which is into augmented and virtual reality solutions to enterprises. We have been helping enterprises to improve productivity, extend workforce capability, and enhance customer satisfaction through our product, which is AR-based remote collaboration. So before getting into the details about how the product is, what it does, I would just like to throw some light on what are the industrial problems which typically the enterprises face. The first one being the higher unexpected downtime. That can be because of operational inefficiencies like scrap, rework. It may be because of non-availability of specialized resources at the location, or it may be because of the travel time taken by a technician or a service person to reach to the location and repair the equipment or a machine. The second point being maintaining skilled workforce. As in, we all are aware, we always need an expert or a person who is go-to for any enterprises. They would be with the company for, let's say, more than 20 years, 25 years. So when they retire, along with them, their practical knowledge also retires. So how to keep hold of that particular knowledge, how to document or digitalize that practical knowledge is again a challenge for the company. Second, we being a millennial generation typically stay in an organization now. The research says that they stay in organization for 3 to 5 years. So now organization needs to plan their processes in a way that they are able to manage the frequent in and outs of their field service tasks. So that is where the challenge is and that is where the opportunities are. And third, as we all talk about the new normal, because of COVID-19 coming in, a lot of business processes has changed and led to a lot of changes in the way company install, the way they inspect, the way they troubleshoot, or the way they maintain the things. Now, when we talk about digital transformation, we have seen a lot of companies who have already been into this path benefit a lot during COVID-19. But when we talk about the new normal, and when we talk about digital transformation, we have seen typically company talking about automation and analytics. But what we have realized, especially after the new normal, is it is important to have a transformation also reaching to the field staff, because currently the transformation is more about the supervisors and the layer above. They are able to understand things, they are able to comprehend things. But if you are able to make field staff, the frontline staff more productive, there are chances the overall organization can become more productive. And that is where augmented reality can be of great help. And that is where our product or our platform comes into play. And that basically empowers the frontline workers by leveraging augmented reality to enable collaboration between field service engineers and offsite employees for remote troubleshooting, inspection, installation, maintenance, repair, and training. So typically, it's kind of a wide platform over which we can display real-time 3D annotations on the environment and objects, which helps teams solve problems efficiently. This also reduces the need for technical experts at every location and also helps monitor compliances, training, and inspection from a remote location. So, and we as a company don't see this as a normal product. We see this as a complete ecosystem at large, wherein the ARMS, the remote video assistance, being the center point, and then it is encompassed with a messaging corner wherein you can share your chat, wherein you can share your documents, and going forward, it will be a AI-enabled chatbot. Then you can have workflow instructions coming into place, wherein you have 3D AR layered instructions, wherein you can have instructions for installations, where you can have instructions for troubleshooting. So typically from remote assistance, it will also shift towards self-assistance first. And if you are not able to solve the problem, then only you reach out remotely. You can have knowledge bank, wherein you can have the training videos already been part of it. You can have the recording of the troubleshooting which you are doing, which then can be used by other person who is facing the same problem. Again, when you have populated videos coming in, you can enable it with AI integration. You can have augmented notes also part of it, wherein it can be helped for auditing and planning purposes. This platform again is completely device agnostic, wherein it can be used on your mobile, on your tablet, on your web platform like laptop and desktop, and it can be also used on smart AR glasses. So I'm just trying to showcase a simple screen here, which will give you an idea of how simple the platform looks. And again, it's a B2B enterprise platform. So the IT would have a complete control over that. The enterprise IT head or the admin will have a complete control. It will be similar to any other suite the enterprise uses, wherein you can have control over the user login. You can deactivate anytime, you can delete anytime, you can add anytime. And only those person will be visible in the contact, and they can be reached out, wherein they can take a call, they can see the video, they can annotate, they can draw. I'll just showcase a small video which will help you understand what this tool is about.
We'll showcase you how to use Plutimen Arms, an AR-based remote assistance and collaboration tool. On downloading the application from Play Store or App Store, log in with predefined credentials provided by your admin. Once you log in, here you can see the contact list with assigned users of your company. Tap on any user to connect for the call. On connecting successfully, a video call will be established and enabled with the AR feature for enhanced visual guidance. Move your phone gently to scan the area for better detection. Sender and receiver can then instruct with AR drawing. You can select 3D annotation by clicking on this icon and selecting from the available options. Tap on screen to place the annotation. Annotation can be placed from both ends, sender and receiver. During the call, user can also chat and share files with each other. You can also mute, unmute using this icon, and can undo or delete the AR drawing and annotation using these icons. In the settings, you can check your
So as I mentioned, this is the core part of the product or the platform, and over that you can encompass all the other pointers which I mentioned. Moving towards the value proposition which it has, it typically helps you, as I earlier mentioned, the productivity improves. Reason being, anytime when you have a problem, you can directly reach out to your supervisor or your or any of the expert. Second, it can be used for within the company, with your customers, with the vendors. So if you have cross plants, as in you have multiple plants, it is not necessary that the expert will be available at each plant. So the cross plant expert comes into picture here. You can have it in interaction with your customers when they face a problem, and you can have it with the vendor, wherein you can do quality inspection before the part or the equipment comes to your office and to your factory. You can do remote audit and compliance also, and it can also be of great help when it comes to on the job training. Typically, since your middle and junior level will be on the floor, the expert can centrally sit and control them. He becomes a third eye for the field staff who is on the floor, and their boost is, then the confidence is also more, because they know that whenever they are stuck, they have an expert to call to. And ultimately, it also reduces the cost, because you can optimally plan your resources. The maintenance and the repair will be quite speedy. There will be quite a lot of time saving. So ultimately, it reduces the downtime and improves the uptime, and so it helps you in overall better top line for be it you or for your customers. Talking about the market domain, so again, this product can be used, platform can be used for any company which has maintenance, repair and operation as one of the domains. For field service also it can be used. So I'm just trying to try to segregate things so that it becomes easy for you to understand. On one side there are manufacturers, and the other side there are equipment users, so typically the utility companies, be it telecom, power, energy, oil and gas, smart cities, food and beverages. It can be used by them. And here on the manufacturing sides, along with workflow instructions, this becomes a great offering for internal users, as well as to use it with customers for their proper uptime. Talking about the pilots and the results which we have got, we have done implementations and at few places pilots. Talking when it comes to Honeywell, we have done it at DuPont, KHS, Reliance, Sterlite, Thermotech. Those are the companies where we have done the pilots. And these are a few are the results which we have achieved, and there are few results which are secondary data which we have got by how adopting AR and AR based remote platform the companies can achieve. The first one being, you can completely improve your first time fix rate by more than 30%. There would be companies who would be currently using WhatsApp or other video platforms, which typically would be having a remote resolution already in place. But by using this, you can increase it by more than 50%. There are chances of, again, long-term benefits in training, as in you can reduce your cost by 50%. The rework cost can go down by 25%. Your new hire productivity can improve by as high as 40%. A quick run through about Plutoman. We are a company which is 4 years old now, but we have been into this space for more than 6 years, wherein we have been consulting and servicing the clients across this domain. We have seen the journey from AR, VR. We all know that when we talk about AR, VR, it is always about customer engagement, but it has much more importance by it getting utilized in training and now in more towards the utility side of it. We are part of NESCOM COE Accelerator. We have recently been shortlisted and part of GeoGenNext currently ongoing accelerator program, a B2B cohort, wherein we are part of 11 startups shortlisted from over 800 applicants. And we just 4 days back got part of cohort at Tech Exchange, wherein we'll be exploring the UK and Europe market. We were recognized as one of the rising stars in field of AR and VR at Vibrance Technology as in Startup and Technology Summit 2019. This is our portfolio, wherein we have been serving few of the clients which are mentioned here. I think over to you, Umesh, if there are any questions.
Yes, Keir, I open it up for the participants to ask you, but I'll take this step to kind of make it more addressable for the CIOs as to how do they connect with you. So if what is that one specific domain or industry wherein it becomes much easier or critical to adopt ARMS?
Okay, so I typically, as I mentioned in the presentation, one of the area where it becomes very important is the maintenance, repair, and operation. So typically, with the COVID-19 in place, you have your machine manufactured at one place, and you are typically installing it at some other place. So even while installation, and even while if there is any troubleshooting coming in, with the scenarios coming in, let's say you have delivered the machine to US, so you cannot go right now, correct? So you need to operate or help them remotely. Many people would tell that there are IoT, as in you can remotely control the HMI and take care of the machine. But this use case is over and above that. So let's say you have the HMI control, you are seeing what is the problem, but now you have to address that problem. It can only be taken care by the person or the operator who is near to that machine, and that is where this comes into play, and that is where this can be a great use. So these are few of the case studies which I have just kept it as annexures. If I had time, I would have gone through it, wherein we have been able to do that for one of the company which was into boiler manufacturing. It becomes kind of an online guidance to the erection team who is installing that machine, and it can also be used for troubleshooting while there is a problem. So typically it saves the travel time. So let's say the boiler, if off for more than a day, what the top line would, as in hit in the top line would be. So what if it can be saved by at least a day or 5 hours? It will be amazing. Same
Right.
company, yes. So these are the other cases where Honeywell we were doing for the training, and
Okay.
Light, which is into optical fibers, we are doing it.
Are you working with any organizations in Gujarat?
Not yet. We have taken, as in Thermotech is a company from Ahmedabad, which is into boiler manufacturing, and we currently are also piloting at KHS Machineries, which is into manufacturing of machines, and they deliver it to Coca-Cola and other beverage companies. So there they are planning to use this tool for the remote collaboration. But I would urge teams, as in CIOs from Gujarat, to explore this product and see if that can be a great head to their ecosystem or their suite of overall plans.
Yes, I think ideally that's a platform for you to reach to them. Yes.
Looking forward to
It
that.
would result into some discussions happening, materialistic discussions happening with the CIOs in Gujarat.
Keeping my fingers crossed for that. Yeah.
Yes. Wish you luck for the same. So I'll probably jump on to our next speaker for the day, right?
Okay. Stop my sharing so that he can.
Yes. So that's Mr. Karmit Goswami, right? He is the CTO for CompuCare India. Ideally, we have been known that the innovations have been coming or prompting up from the tier 1 cities of the country. And here we are with a startup operating or coming out of Baroda, who is an IoT 4.0 solution provider catering to the manufacturing industries. So I would now hand it over to Mr. Karmit to kind of give a brief introduction and details about the product, and also as to how it can be useful for the CIOs to connect with it.
Yeah.
Karmit, over to you.
Thank you, Umesh, for your kind introduction, and thank you, Geisha, for having me here. I have been listening to all the presentations, and especially KU's presentation was very much interesting to us, to me, because I see there's a lot of need in AR or the virtual assistant sort of a market in India, especially. So moving forward, let me introduce us, FE, AMS. AMS stands for Advanced Manufacturing Execution System. So we are a part of CompuCare India Private Limited, as Umesh already mentioned. We were developed in 2016 to perform analytics on basic data generated by the machines. So the clients had a lot of information that was missing out in real time from the machines, and they wanted to capture that data and analyze it. So that's where FE started out from. So since then, we have executed over 20 projects, and these projects are in automobile market. For example, with Denso, we have executed production monitoring systems. Electronics has, for example, Panasonic is working. We are working with Panasonic for such a system. In tire industry, we are working with ATG tires, Apollo tires, MRF, and other manufacturers. So we have worked with a broad sense of industries to execute manufacturing executions or a part of manufacturing execution system. The thing is, we have used all this experience to make sure that that FE as a manufacturing suite, the whole suite of execution system, can be configured to cater any type of manufacturing facility. I mean, that it could be a mass manufacturing facility or a batch or a job shop production facility. All these things can be customized. Just needs to be customized to work for. So coming forward, when we are talking about manufacturers, many of you over here are CIOs and CXOs for manufacturing companies. You must have come across a lot of problems, and some of these problems might be familiar to you. For example, you don't get your information on time to make the right decisions, or you have very poor visibility on the work in progress inventory, or there's a lot of paperwork in your plant where it's not needed, and it becomes more riskier to lose a lot of data when it's in terms of paper, and it's not recorded properly. So you are employing a lot of systems to organize all these things. These systems, in these systems, you're trying to find out the real truth about what is going on in your manufacturing plant, which is still very difficult. And all this is connected to one very important thing, and that is data. Data is the linchpin between a plant and a business. So if you don't get the right amount of data or right data at the right time, from the plant to your business, you won't be able to make the right decisions, and vice versa. If you don't get, if you don't inform your manufacturing plant regarding the coming up orders and stuff like that, the plant cannot meet the targets. Or if there is any new innovation coming up in the market that the plant needs to innovate towards, it's going to be a challenge for the plant. So to take care of this, you have obviously deployed a lot of systems in your plants, and I have mentioned a few systems over here, and divided them into 4 levels. So the bottommost level has your PLCs and controllers and HMIs and stuff like that, that are connected with the machine, as well as some sort of a system somewhere sending you the real-time data. The control level, so it goes to the SCADA systems. SCADAs and DCS systems take care of all the machines in your plant, and they know the health of each and every machine you have in the plant. Above that, you then have operations level, that is taking care of your inventory, quality, and maintenance parts. And then you have your management levels with your ERPs, CRMs, HRMs, and stuff like that. So where does a manufacturing execution system fall in this hierarchy? Manufacturing system is essentially designed so that it can communicate with the rest of the system. And here's where the manufacturing execution system falls. That is operations level. So the operations level is generally at the top of a manufacturing plant, and the ERP, so it's directly communicating with ERPs or CRMs and stuff like that to communicate the data to the corporate levels. So here's where FE as MES, AMS is designed, or we are innovating over here. That's what we're saying. And so let me first discuss how an MES is communicating with the rest of the systems in a manufacturing facility. So for a 4th level system, a manufacturing execution system communicates with ERPs for production data, with CRMs for tracking and tracing data, ELMs for work instructions, and human resource management software to perform to know what is the performance of their people in terms of production, or how efficiently they are working on the line. With the sister softwares, I'd say, that is on the shop floor, on the operations level softwares, manufacturing execution system has a responsibility to communicate with the quality management systems, that is laboratory information management systems, or inventory systems, that is warehouse management system, and maintenance systems. So so manufacturing execution system has a very, very important role when it comes to giving you a right picture of your whole manufacturing plant. And so, and this is where this is what we are already doing, but there's this next thing that comes when it comes to FE. This is where FE is differentiated between a regular MES. We communicate directly with the machines on the shop floor. So FE was motivated, or I'll say was designed in terms of IIoT, keeping in mind IIoT. Manufacturing execution systems have been around since over 15 years now, but IIoT, use of IIoT is extensively being done since last 5 to 10 years. But FE in specific is communicating directly with the edge computers or the sensors that are on the machines, if they're older generation, or any other controllers that are on the machines, and pulling the data out of them to know what is the status of the machine as well as what is the status of the production, and using that data to send to other systems that a regular MES does. So FE is designed to offer a simplified but thorough view of your factory. That's the whole point of FE. And with this, all this data, it's focusing on one very important factor, and that is improving your OEE. That is your overall equipment effectiveness. This number, OEE, is based on three fundamental foundational blocks. That is your availability, performance, and quality. If you have enough availability of your machine are performing at the best level of performance they can be used for, and they are producing products without any rejections, your plant is probably having a very high rate of OEE. And FE is improving each of these fundamental blocks with by defining 6 losses or reducing 6 losses. These losses are your unplanned or planned stops on the machines for maintenance or breakdowns and stuff like that, or small stops or slow cycle times. That is your machine idling. Somebody was just taking a break or something, because of which machine was idling or something like that. Or there are a lot of rejections coming out of the machines. These things are being addressed by FE to improve your OEE, and that's the focus of the whole system around here, over here. So let's see how FE. Let's see how many modules does FE has to address these fundamental blocks. That is, it has 6 blocks. It is built on 6 pillars. These are functions on. These can functions on behalf of other systems that we talked about as well. So, for example, production monitoring system is there. Maintenance management system is there, which can work on behalf of computerized maintenance management system. The quality management system can work on behalf of laboratory information management system. There's utility monitoring system, product tracking and tracing, which can cater directly to your CRMs, and you have at the end process digitization. So anything that is going on in terms of paperwork or manual tasks on the shop floor, these can be digitized directly and be communicated directly to the to and from the corporate houses of your manufacturing plants. So let me show you one by one each of these modules, how they work. So first of all, production monitoring system. It is focusing on 2 major factors, and that is monitoring of whatever production that is being done on the shop floor, and the other part is the order scheduling. So the FE makes sure that you know what is the targeted production at any given point, and this can be directly transmitted to the workers as well on the shop floor. They need to be known. They need to know what is the actual production targets. So if we can give them as well as the planner, the order planner, to see which orders are being executed on time, which orders are which targets are not being met in production or something like that, so that they can go ahead and schedule the next orders coming up in the queue, and they know exactly which orders could be delayed at any given point. In parallel, it also gives the data about machine status and how the machine is performing, and what type of what quality of products it's giving out. So these can also improve, or this will indeed help manufacturers improve their OEE percentage. And of course, at the end, waste monitoring. This waste is not actually, most of the manufacturers right now do not know, or they are not interested in monitoring wastes at the moment in their plants, which is actually causing a lot of problem in terms of the bottom lines. Their bottom lines are not increasing or improving just because they are not controlling their wastes. And this system could give them an overview of actually how much time or how much material they have wasted while producing this product. Next is maintenance management. It has three parts: end-on system, condition monitoring, and preventive maintenance. So the end-on system and condition monitoring are two very interesting parts for machine maintenance. So how does an end-on system work? Is it makes sure that it addresses any maintenance problems or any type of problems. Actually, it could be something like the operator does not have the operator does not have material with them on the workstation. This could be a problem that is causing breakdowns or machine stoppages. So these things that are external to a machine, the machine has no problem, but there are other external factors that are causing the machine not to work. These things can be controlled using an end-on system, whereas condition monitor is keeping a track of everything that is going on inside the machine. It could be something like vibrations are too high, or machines are not perform, or temperature is too high, or there are slower cycle times due to some stoppages or problems. These things could be taken into consider using a condition monitor. And lastly, preventive maintenance. Preventive maintenance, actually, it's more of becoming. We are working already to implement machine learning technologies for preventive maintenance to make it into predictive maintenance. Right now, we are already communicating with these two condition monitors and end-on systems to analyze any upcoming breakdowns, and the preventive maintenance system schedules those breakdowns or maintenance routines for you automatically. The third is quality management system. This is basically this has two very critical parts, and that is your inline or online quality control. So most manufacturers don't want to build a defect. Building defect is also a very big challenge, a problem, and they want to make sure that everybody has control over the quality they are producing at the very moment. So this module can address those control factors in online quality controls, as well as after the product is being made. There are certain machines that are used to test a product. It could be any type of machines, actually. And these machines, so what this module does is it directly communicates with those end of the line machines that are used for quality testing, and communicates that data of quality to the rest of the system. So that's how quality management system is helping improve the product yield. Utility monitoring system, I believe you all already know, or you probably have an awareness. The surprising part, though, is there are over 200, 300 energy meters in a given factory, or in a large or a good factory. And there's 1 or 2 engineers employed to get data out of these energy meters. They are simply going around in the factory throughout the day, writing down energy meters data. So there's one very critical critical problem that I would like to address over here. That is, aren't these engineers or isn't this talent being underutilized? That's not their jobs to collect data like that. So what we are doing is we are communicating directly with the energy meters or any water level indicators or any utilities on your shop floors to get the data. And fifth one is the product tracking and tracing. So over here again, I've shown an example of a tire production facility where the production of a tire is being recorded at each station of whatever value addition is being done at each station, and until the tire is being is sold out in the market and ready to die, sort of. So the database can be maintained until the end of the product's life, and you can know you can find out get the root cause analysis for each of your product that is being produced using the system. And lastly, the process digitization and automation module that we have. So this module is basically digitizing everything that is going on your shop floor. So from a process development execution system, it could just get the manufacturing flow data and execute that information to each of the workstations. So workers know what or inventory system knows that this material needs to be reached or sent to this particular workstation and stuff like that. These things can be controlled using process digitization and automation system. So over here, I've just shown a couple of slides with the dashboard that we have that shows an overview of a factory. This is a basic dashboard that we have already in the market. And this is how you would find yourself setting up your machines. So you could have your type of machine, and you can set up each and every parameter on the software relating to that machine. Yeah. So with that said, I hope you found this session informative, and please visit our booth at DMC platform to know more about our solutions. Me and my team would be happy to connect one-on-one to discuss about any requirements you have. Thank you, Umesh. If you have any questions, please go ahead. I'll be happy to address them.
Thank you, Kermit. That indeed was insightful and detailed and technical. We have just a couple of minutes before we hand it over to Krina to take this forward for the next session. Again, from the startup perspective, if you can just help me understand as to how and what is it that you're expecting from the CIOs to connect for?
So what I understand is CIOs are taking care of a lot of data and network issues coming up in a factory, or they need to consistently innovate in the manufacturing environments. What I would like them to know is the high market demands are legit. The actual market is growing very fast than what we would expect, and using some things or systems, any system or any automation system is the only way we can reach that demand.
Okay. Makes sense, Kermit bhai. So in the interest of time, Kermit ji, I would now kind of invite Krina to take this session forward. Once again, thank you so much for coming down and investing your time to share the product of yours with the CIOs in the world. Krina, over to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for hosting us and permitting us to moderate this session.